Today I would like to speak about the topic differences between American and British English. English as a global language has traveled across continents and cultures. It's spoken by hundreds of millions of people as a first language and by over a billion people as a second language. With such a wide distribution, it is natural that English has developed into several distinct varieties. Among them, the two most influential varieties are the British and American English. Today we will explore these differences in detail. We will look at how American and English developed, how they differ in their pronunciation, spelling, usage, idioms, and even grammar. Now I would like to talk about the most fascinating and sometimes amusing differences between British and American English. It's found in their vocabulary. Also, both varieties share thousands of words. There are many cases where they use completely different words for the same concept, or where the same word carries different meanings. These differences often come from history, cultural development, and everyday life experiences. And let's begin with the first category, different words with same meaning. For us, the most commonly known example is lorry and truck. Even inside a city, the British might take the underground or the tube, whereas Americans take the subway. These small differences can occasionally lead to misunderstandings, especially for learners of English. Let's move to the another category, same word, different meaning. These cases can be particularly confusing because the word looks the same but refers to different things. For example, the British chips are what Americans call French fries, but in the United States, chips refers to what the British call crisps. Another example is the word biscuit. In British English, a biscuit is a sweet, crunchy snack similar to a cookie, but in American English, biscuit is a soft bread-like roll, usually served warm with butter. The word pants also causes confusion in some cases. For Americans, pants means trousers, but in British English, however, pants usually refers to underwear. We also see vocabulary differences in everyday topics like food, education, and clothing. In American schools, students write with an eraser, but British students use a rubber. Americans say sweater, while the British say jumper. For food, Americans eat eggplant, while the British eat aubergine. Americans enjoy cookies, but the British eat biscuits. These vocabulary differences highlight how culture influences language. For instance, many American food terms like corn or candy develop from early encounters with Native American cultures or from immigrant communities. It's important to emphasize that neither variety is more correct than the other. Each is a standard form used by millions of people in the world. What matters is understanding that differences exist and being able to recognize them in real communication. Another category is pronunciation differences. One of the most noticeable differences between American and British English is pronunciation. Even the vocabulary is the same. The two varieties often sound quite different. These differences can be heard in the way vowels are pronounced, how the R sound is used, and even the overall rhythm of a speech. The first major point is the distinction between rhotic and non-rhotic accents. In general, American English is rhotic. It means that speakers pronounce R clearly in all positions. For example, in words like car, heart, mother, the R sound is always pronounced, but British English special received pronunciation, traditional standard accent, is non-rhotic. This means the R sound is not usually pronounced. This means that R at the end of a syllable or word is not pronounced. So in British English, car sounds closer to car, hard becomes hard, and mother becomes a mother. And another major difference lies in vowel pronunciation. The two varieties often use different vowel qualities for the same words. For instance, the vowel in bass, pass, and dance is pronounced with a long A sound in British English, something like bass and dance. In American English, however, these words have the short A sound, as in bass and dance. Let's consider another example, the word tomato. In British English, it is pronounced tomato with a long A sound. In American English, it becomes tomato with a different vowel pattern. Let's consider another example, the word tomato. In British English, it's pronounced tomato with a long A sound. But in American English, it becomes tomato with a different vowel pattern. The same applies to vitamin. British say vitamin, while Americans say vitamin. Let's consider another example, the word tomato. In British English, it is pronounced tomato with a different vowel pattern. The same in American English, it becomes tomato with a different vowel pattern. The same applies to vitamin. The British say vitamin, while Americans say vitamin. Even some everyday words we use frequently have distinct pronunciation forms. Consider schedule. In British English, it is typically pronounced schedule, while in American English it becomes schedule. Another example is leisure. The British say leisure, and American says leisure. Finally, let's look briefly at intonation. In British English, tense use a wider range of pitch and a more varied melody when speaking, giving it a slightly more musical rhythm. In American English, on the other hand, often uses a flatter intonation pattern with smoother transitions between syllables. Now let's examine one of the more subtle but important areas where British and American English differ: grammar. While both varieties share the same basic rules, but there are several patterns where usage differs. Understanding these differences is crucial for learners, especially in academic writing, formal communication, and international context. Let's begin with the present perfect and past simple. One of the most noticeable grammatical differences involves the present perfect tense. In British English, the present perfect tense is often preferred to describe recent events with relevance to the present. For example, in British English, they say, I have just eaten lunch, but in American English, speakers often use the past simple in the same context. They say, I just ate lunch. These differences can sometimes confuse learners, but both forms are grammatically correct in their respective varieties. British English treats collective nouns such as team, staff, or government as plural when emphasizing individual members. For example, in British English, they say the team are winning the match. In contrast, American English usually treats collective nouns as a singular. They say the team is winning the match. And another distinction is the use of have and have got to indicate possession. In British English, speakers use I have got a car, but in American English, speakers use I have a car. While both are correct, have got is far more common in British English, especially in spoken language. And then prepositional use also differs between two varieties. For example, in British English, it is used at the weekend, but in contrast, in American English, on the weekend. Similarly, one might say different to in British English, but American English, they use different from. Even though these differences are small, they can affect the naturalness of speech and writing. And past simple and present perfect with time expressions. British English often uses present perfect with words like already, just, yet, recently. For example, they say, I have already finished my homework. American English is often uses the past simple. They say, I already finished my homework. Other minor differences. There are also subtle differences in modal verbs, tag questions, auxiliary verbs. And for instance, British English might say, shall we go to the cinema, while the Americans say, should we go to the movies. These differences illustrate how grammar is not entirely universal within the English language. Instead, each variety has developed slightly different conventions, influenced by history, culture, and common. Differences in idioms and expressions. Now let's explore another fascinating aspect of British and American English, idioms and expressions. Idioms are phrases whose meanings cannot be deduced from the literal meanings of the words. They are deeply connected to the culture, history, cultural development, daily life, and often differ between varieties. Let's begin with the British idioms. British English has many idiomatic expressions that are commonly used everyday speech. For example, I am nagged. This means I am very tired. Not my cup of tea. This refers to something one doesn't like or enjoy. Bits and bobs, this means small things or various items. Chuffed to bits, very pleased or happy about something. And these idioms reflect the traditional British culture, humor, and social interactions. But in American idioms, has its own idioms shaped by a different cultural context. For example, break your leg, a way of saying good luck, especially in theater. Piece of cake, something very easy to do. Hit the books to study, it means to study hard. Kick the bucket, it means to die. American idioms often reflect a more direct, sometimes humorous or informal style of expression. And many idioms reflect the lifestyles, history, and cultural references of each country. British idioms may reference sports, food, or historical traditions, while American idioms may reference movies, sports like baseball, or everyday life in North America. And idioms can be challenging for English learners because their meanings are not literal. A British speaker might say, I am feeling under the weather to indicate illness, while which an American speaker will understand. But other idioms may cause confusion if used in the wrong variety. And another major area where British and American English differ is spelling. These differences are more systematic than pronunciation or vocabulary. They often stem from the efforts of language reformers and historical developments. And let's start with one of the most well-known patterns, our and or. In British English, words like color, honor, and favor keep the U. In American English, these words are simplified to color, honor, and favor. The next difference is between the eyes and eyes endings. In British English, both forms are often accepted. For example, organize and organize are both correct. However, in American English, the eyes form is standard. So Americans would write organize, realize, and recognize. Another pattern involves re and endings, but British English often uses center, theater, and meter, whereas American English prefers center, theater, and meter. And doubling consonants is another area of difference. Words ending with a consonant ing or ed may double the consonant in British English, but not in American English. For example, in British English, traveling, labeled, cancelled, the letter L is doubled, but in American English, traveling, labeled, cancelled, the letter is not doubled. The letter L is not doubled. These differences are particularly noticeable in writing, academic work, and professional communication. They are not errors. They simply reflect the separate evolution of two varieties of English. And now we come to punctuation and writing style, another area where British and American English show notable differences. While grammar and vocabulary differences are often more noticeable in speech, pronunciation, punctuation and style are especially important in writing, including academic work, professional communication, and media. One of the most visible differences is in the use of quotation marks. British English usually uses single quotation marks for direct speech or quotations. For example, he said, "I will meet you at the station." American English prefers double quotation marks. He said, "I will meet you at the station." And date formatting is another area of difference. British English uses day, month, year, but American English uses month, day, year. This may seem minor, but in professional documents, business correspondence, and international contexts, using the correct form is crucial to avoid confusion. And capitalization, there are subtle differences in capitalization conventions. British English often capitalizes less frequently in titles and headings. For example, the history of English literature, the word literature, the letter L is not capitalized. But in American English tends to capitalize more words in headings. The history of English literature, in the sentence, the word literature, the letter L is capitalized. And some minor differences exist in punctuation usage, especially with periods and commas. In British English, the full stop may appear outside quotation marks if it is not part of the quoted material. For example, he called it a brilliant idea. Periods are most always, in American English, periods are almost always placed inside quotation marks. As you can see the example, he called it a brilliant idea. And another important aspect to consider is how British and American English are used in the education and business. The choice of variety often depends on geography, institutional preferences, and the audience. In many countries, British English is the standard in education. Schools in Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East often follow the British spelling, grammar, and vocabulary conventions. For example, international examinations such as IELTS also follow British conventions. Also, American forms are accepted in certain cases. American English, on the other hand, is more prevalent in countries with strong cultural or economic ties to the United States, such as Japan, South Korea, Latin American countries, and parts of the Philippines. And in international business, the choice between British and American English can depend on the client, location, or company culture. Multinational corporations often prefer American English because of the dominant role of the United States in global commerce and technology. Terms like resume, elevator, truck are commonly used in business documents and correspondence. British English is frequently preferred in diplomatic, academic, or European Union communications, where terms like lift and lorry may be used. In conclusion, understanding differences between British and American English is not just a linguistic exercise, it's a gateway to effective, accurate, and naturally aware communication in today's interconnected world. Whether in education, business, or everyday life, mastering these differences allows speakers to navigate the global English-speaking community with confidence. So this is the end of my lesson. Thank you very much.